Fireflies, I am Because Star, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a little bit of a different episode for Isle of the Midnight Sun. Today we are doing a speed build of remodeling Todd's house. So we just came back from vacation in France, and Todd was so inspired by all the beautiful landscape that he saw there that he wanted to go ahead and remodel his little home, or I guess like build his home, because he was living in a basement. So I guess he got so used to living in like an actual house with like actual windows and paint and floor, and instead of living in like underground like a mole. So he decided, you know what, I brought back a little bit of money with me from France. Let's go ahead and use that money and build myself a home. So we're building him a home right now. Now, this didn't turn out exactly like how I thought it would, but I think it turned out really, really cute and really adorable, and I really, really like the way that it turned out. Originally, my plan was I wanted to put the house up. Now, I knew I was going to lose a floor by doing this. However, I thought, oh, that's not a problem. We can put the garden underneath. And then once I actually did put the garden underneath, I realized I did not like the way that looked. But my whole like thought process behind this is that Todd lives in this little tiny island, and for some reason I felt like maybe sometimes the island gets covered in water. Like sometimes if it's like rainy or stormy or high tide or whatever, I feel like the island can sometimes maybe get submerged underwater. So in my mindset, okay, then that means like the home would get water damaged, or like water would go in through like the doors and the windows and things like that. So I was like, why don't we go ahead and put the house up on like stilts. I know that's not the right word. I can't think. Pillars? On pillars. I think that's the word I'm looking for. And so I was like, let's go ahead and do that. And so that's why we went and put the cool little brick wooden pillar thingies on the bottom floor. And then I decided, you know what? I want the first floor to be the kitchen. So the first floor is going to be the kitchen, and I want like this big open area, so that way when you're done cooking, you can look outside and you can like eat like kind of like outside. So my original thought was I was just gonna build 3 walls and then like leave 1 wall open, so that way like the outside comes inside. But the more I thought about it, again, my brain was like, okay, well, if this was real and like if he really did live on an island, he wouldn't want to do that because like animals would come in, or maybe if it was too windy, or again like the whole like weather things, like if it was raining, water would come in the house, blah blah blah. So I just put these huge windows on the front of the house. This is what I'm considering the front, where all the windows are. And so I thought that would really work. So that way we can get a lot of sunlight in. We can still feel like we're part of nature, but nature's outside and we're inside. And so that's what we ended up doing. And I think it turned out super, super cute. We ended up putting the windows from the greenhouse on the other side. And the reason why I used those windows wasn't because they were cheap, because they're super cheap. They're only like $10. But the reason why we ended up using those windows is because I thought that they looked really pretty, and they fit most like where I really wanted. Like I wanted like plantation windows with like slight like what are they called? Ooh, I know they're called plantation windows, but I can't think of like what that little piece of wood is called. But basically we have them in our own house. And so I really like the way they look, and I really wanted to put that in this house because I kind of wanted to make it look more like I guess traditional on the outside and more modern on the inside. However, I couldn't find any windows that matched what I wanted. So I ended up using the greenhouse windows because that matched for the most part of what I really wanted. And then they were only $10. So that was like really cool and really inexpensive. And I actually really love the way they came out. So right now I'm fighting with the staircase. I originally wanted to put a ladder up. So like he would have to like climb a ladder up and then a ladder down. And then I was going to put like staircases in the house. But then I realized that would take up like way too much space, because I would need a hole for the ladder up, and then I would need like a way for somewhere to put for the staircase. I'm like, that would just take up too much space. Here we are about the windows. I love how I was talking about the windows when I was doing the staircase, and now I'm talking about the staircases as I'm putting in the windows. Way to go, Star. So I had that was my original plan. I was going to put a ladder up and then the staircase, but then I realized it would take up way too much space. And then I wanted to do like a traditional, like straight staircase, but for some reason it wouldn't let me do it, on the ground. It was saying that it was uneven or unstable or something like that. So I couldn't do it. So then finally I decided, you know what? Let's do this spiral staircase. So I picked the one I liked. I changed the colors. And then I was just really struggling with trying to have all the staircases match up. So I was like really having a hard time trying to get that to work. It did not want to work for me. You could tell I was like really struggling. Finally, I realized I had to start from like the bottom up. So I went all the way down into the basement and then I put the staircase in, and then I put the first floor in, and then I had to put the second floor in. I finally got them in. They look really nice, and I really like the way they turned out. We actually ended up taking out the second, or I guess technically the third staircase, which is on the second floor. We will put it back just for the time being. I did take it out so that the house could look more like, it could look more complete and more pretty and not so like awkward, because you'll see here in a little bit how I put like a flooring on top and it made the house look really awkward. So I ended up just taking the staircase out so that the house wouldn't look so awkward. When we technically build the second story of the house, which I'm calling the second story even though it's going to be like the third story, we'll put the staircase back in, of course. But for now, we're not really living on that. We're living on this one main floor, so it's okay for it not being there for the time being. Here I am messing with the staircase color. We just picked a color for the house right now. I picked this really light blue color. My color scheme for the house is going to be light blues, grays, whites, and blacks. Actually, no. Grays, whites, and light blues. I don't know. I just don't know what possessed me to go with that. But it actually looks really pretty, and I really like the way it all kind of came together. By the way, I really love the way I did this outside porch. Again, I want it kind of be like all one with nature type of thing. And so I'm actually going to put our dining table out here on the porch. So in the building, we're going to have like this really big, nice sized kitchen with like a little bit of a wine cellar. And then outside, we're going to have a big giant dining table where we can eat and like have fun and whatnot. Oh, and then on the bottom floor, I decided I'm just going to do kind of like a big living area, like outside. I'm going to put like picnic tables and a grill and then maybe a fire pit. And we're just going to have like the downstairs be just kind of like, again, in my mindset, it might get flooded with water or it's unstable. The bottom is unstable or unsafe when it comes to different types of weather. So, I'm downstairs. I'm thinking of just having like an outdoor kind of living, grilling area where we can like hang out and have fun. Right now, here I am trying to struggle with where to put the garden. And this is when I realized I do not like the garden there on the first floor. I kept thinking that for a while there, I was like, okay, well, we'll just put it on the roof. But then my brain was like, no, I don't like the way that will look. And then at the moment, I didn't have a whole lot of money because I hadn't sold the relics that we had brought back from World Adventures. So in my mindset, I was like, no, we're just going to keep the relics so that way the kids can like continue the search for them and then we can put them all together. And then that way we can make like a lot more money in the future. But then my brain remembered like, wait a second, even if the kids go and do whatever the heck they're doing in World Adventures, that doesn't mean they're going to like complete all of the tasks. So that's my brain was like, no, let's sell these. So then we cut out here in a little bit where it's like a second part of the build. And that's when I had sold all the relics. And then that's when I moved the garden downstairs in the basement. And I was able to buy flower pots with the money that we had gained from selling the relics. So right now we're working on the kitchen. I found this really awesome fridge that you saw earlier that I really, really wanted to use. However, it was way too expensive. And I realized right after I bought it, I was like, oh God, this is way too expensive. So we put it back And then we were able to get some counters, which I really like the way the counters look with everything. I do want to make this like I already said, I want to make this a really, really, really nice kitchen. And so I want to put like the teriyaki grill there, and then I want to put like a really nice refrigerator and like a really nice sink. And I want to make the kitchen really, really pretty. And we will do that sooner or later. So right now I'm trying to find some lights. Oh my goodness, you guys, this took me forever. I mean, forever trying to find the lights that I wanted. I don't know why I couldn't find them, but I couldn't find them. I kept looking, and then I couldn't even find the lights that I like. I couldn't find them, and so I was really struggling. Finally, I found these stupid lights that I wanted, and I was able to put them down here. And I'm putting the lights in right now. I'm really OCD when it comes to lights. Like, they have to line up perfectly. They have to be centered. Like, I don't know. Lights bug me. Sorry if this audio recording is a little jumpy. I'm kind of sick at the moment. How the heck I got sick, I have no idea. But I have like a summer cough. And so I'm trying to cut out me coughing. So if it like jumps a little bit, or if we're like a little delayed on like what I'm talking about and what's being shown on the screen, it is because I am trying to cut out all my coughing moments, because I don't want to cough in your guys' ear. So right now we're trying to figure out what kind of wallpaper we want to do for the basement. And I end up using this brick type of wallpaper. So I don't know where in the world Todd got all this brick, and I don't know how in the world he was able to get it all downstairs, and I don't know why he used it. However, I guess in his mindset he's thinking, okay, this is sturdy, it's strong, we're out in the middle of nowhere on an island, and we can use this brick, it will keep like all the water out and like all the bugs and all the dirt, and it's nice and sturdy and protective. I don't know, but somehow we got bricks downstairs, and that is what he ends up using for the walls. And then we're trying to pick out the flooring, which, oh my god, the flooring took me forever. That was another thing that I couldn't decide what kind of flooring I wanted to use downstairs. And so I went with like bricks and pebbles and concrete, and I was just like going back and forth, and I worked so long, and I kind of finally find something that I was semi-okay with. But the thing is, like, I was trying to find something to match the walls or complemented the walls. And the only thing I could find was, like, concrete or, like, hard, like, dark colors. And I didn't want it all being dark, because then it would make the room look really dark. So we end up picking this, like, light gray concrete. And I kept trying to make it lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. And what I ended up with was okay, but I didn't like it. So then we do end up changing it to kind of like a grass pattern. Now, I don't know how in the world Todd got grass to grow downstairs, but he got grass to grow downstairs. And so we end up using grass down on the bottom of the basement. Now, the really funny thing that I did was I knew there was like a grass that came with Into the Future, and my brain was like, where is it? Like, I couldn't find it. I was searching for it. I couldn't find it. And I kept, like, I just could not find it. So finally I had to stop and Google, and I was like, where is the grass for Into the Future? And that's when I realized it was like an actual rug. Oh, here I am trying to find it. And so then I realized, wait a second, it's a rug. So then I went and I find the rug, and I didn't really like it. It was like kind of too green for me. And then that's when my brain realized, wait a second, in Creative Style, there's a grass pattern. And so we end up using Creative Style to use a grass pattern, and I solved my problem. And I actually really like the way that it turned out. And then upstairs on the first floor, there is this, for the staircase, there was tiles there. That automatically get placed there when you put a staircase in. And so I couldn't get rid of those tiles, and I didn't want to put like any other random tiles like there, because it would look awkward. So what I ended up doing was I used like this same grass that I used downstairs. I used it to cover up the tiles on the stairs. And I don't know, I just thought that was like ingenious. I just thought that was super smart of me, and that it was just like so brilliant, and I really like the way it looks. Now, of course, it doesn't match like 100% perfectly, but if you're not like really like staring at it and like you just like glance at it, you can't really tell. So I really like the way that turned out, and it kind of looks like it's uniform, even though it's not. And so now we're just putting in all of our little garden areas. Oh my gosh, these stupid trees. I was having such a hard time trying to place them. I couldn't just like place them immediately into the planters. I had to like guess, like try to like throw them somewhere and hope they landed in the planters. I don't know why. They weren't working for me. And so it was really hard and really difficult, but we were able to get everything to work out in the end. Right now we're trying to make Todd live on the first story, because this is when I realized, you know what, I didn't like the garden there. I want to put it in the basement, and now we need to like figure out how we're gonna let Todd live here. And so we figured it out. We kind of made how we did in the basement, where we separated the bathroom from the kitchen, and then we could put Todd's bed in the one corner, and then we put a lot of his stuff outside on the porch. And he's making it work. He does want to get married here in the future, but he wants to make sure when he does bring someone here to the house that it is a good home for this person, and he's not like, oh hey, by the way, I live on an island in the middle of nowhere in a dirt hut. You know, like, who's gonna want to come and live with him if he says that? So he wanted to make sure that he has a good house. He wants to make sure he has a good house before he brings someone home to live with him. And so right here we're messing with the roof. I was having such a hard time trying to get this stupid roof to work, you guys. It was so hard. I am not a builder, okay? I am not good at building. I do not like building. It is not my forte. It does not like me. Finally, I realized that the roof couldn't go on top of the porch. And that's when I was like, oh, pillars from downstairs. Let's bring those up and we can put the roof on top of them. So that's what we ended up doing. And I actually really like the way it turned out. It looks super cute and super adorable. And I really, really like this house, you guys. Of course, there's so much more work that needs to be done to it, but I really like it. And I think for the time being, for like a starter kind of thing, I think we're doing really well. And I really enjoy it. And I hope you guys enjoyed the speed build. I kind of rambled a lot and there was so much more I wanted to say that I couldn't. But here we go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a grand, glorious day. Bye!